all of 2023, we were trying to figure out who we are as a business, figure out what it is that we want to anchor down on the most, what resonates with people the most, everything that we've kind of seen that's worked today. That is something that we very much look like on doubling down next year.
GM everyone, and welcome to Fuel for Thought, where we explore the multifaceted world of NFTs through the lenses of different industries and thought leaders. My name is Chris, and today we have one of the legends of Pudgy Penguins with us. There's a lot we're going to talk about, but first things first, how are you, Peter? And how's your coffee today? Because we're coffee enjoyers at the show.
I'm doing very well, and I always walk into the office and crack a nitro cold brew because that's the only thing that holds me over for like 4 hours of just intense velocity work. So I'm good. Hope you're enjoying coffee. What are you drinking? Espresso? Cappuccino?
Yeah, I'm having an espresso with a little bit of milk, so latte. But
Nice.
I don't have much
Nice.
equipment at home, so it's a simple one. Just gets me going and fuels
Sure.
my thoughts, little nod to the show here. So we have Peter with us. He's the creative director at Pudgy's. He's been part of the team since the very beginning, since Luca and the team took over the project. And as we all know, they've been building a very, very impressive company, shipping a lot of products and overall driving innovation in the space. So we have a lot of things to talk about. The first things that I'd like to touch on with you before we dig into Pudgy's like in details, I'd like to understand your background. And I hear that you were in high school with Luca, is that right?
Yeah, so we grew up in Los Angeles together. We met when we were, I think, like 13, 14 or something. We just had a lot of mutual friends, hung around the same group, kind of were, I don't know, just a messy crowd back in the day, just doing hooligan stuff, hooligan activity in hooligan LA neighborhoods. And so, yeah, we were going to go to the same high school together, but we ended up going to high schools like right across from each other, across town from each other. But after school, we would hang out sometimes, and then we kind of eventually had our own friend groups, and so we knew of each other really well. And there were times that we were hanging out a lot, and then eventually kind of started doing our own thing. I ended up kind of graduating into just figuring out my own life and trying to do things on my own, and then life happens that we came back full circle, reconnected after a couple of years, and then kept more in touch, and eventually started to kind of jump into some endeavors together and kind of figure things out from there.
You mentioned before you were, doing hooligan stuff and doing a little bit of like mischief. So can you tell me a funny story of you guys back then? I guess there's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's like hooligans. It's even up until today, we'll be hooligans in our own regard, but a little bit more sophisticated hooligans with a little bit more strategy and care. And but yeah, I mean, back in the day, it was just a lot of I don't know. I don't think a lot of it I can say, but the things you would expect, a couple of 13, 14, 15-year-old kids to do and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I think the most recent like interesting memory that I would have is him and I both love cars. He had an M5 competition in LA. This was like 2017, 2018 or something. And I had an Alpina B6. And so we would on the way we would go to like influencer houses for like business little meetings and things like that. And I would just remember him and I would just aggressively, like, this is not a good thing to do, but just race through the streets of LA. He would just beat up his M5, and we would just be like pulling up in these very aggressive cars, and it was just such a cool time because we had like very heavy feet, and we really loved to throttle that gas and just kind of throw the cars around in the mountains and have a good time. So that's a really good memory. We used to drive up and kind of look at the houses and kind of ponder and just try to manifest the lifestyle that we are on the way to kind of having. A lot of the things that we didn't have 5 years ago or something, we're very much kind of closely aligned ourselves with those goals. And it's crazy to kind of look back and be like, wow, like we literally planned for a lot of the things that are happening today, and it's awesome to see them come to fruition.
Right. And so back then you were, I guess, already successful, manifesting the grand vision that you guys had for your life, and then Pudgy Penguins happened. So how did you get from there to then into Pudgy Penguins?
Yeah, so Luca and I had a couple businesses together. We would build brands for and incubate brands for celebrities and influencers. Some of the influencers were anybody from like Jake Paul, Logan Paul, to Jay Alvarez. That was a lot of like Luca's background and what he kind of really specialized in. Where him and I really connected is I was always the guy who just was a curator of like looks and kind of helped develop a brand identity and the web experiences and just everything from product and just how you kind of interpret the brand or the experience that that influencer was going to bring. And so we did that really well for a little bit. And I'm not going to lie, the business kind of took a turn, for the worst. It was a lot of like firsthand experiences. And so I ended up moving from LA to Miami, and I ended up kind of launching my own design studio because I very very much like found a passion in all things brand development, everything from product to brand identities to digital experiences and so on. And so I started a studio with a business partner of mine. His name is Blake, and he's like a 3D wizard. And so him and I were like it was like him and I just first, kind of running the studio. We ended up hiring one more person, and we ended up kind of cornering a niche, which was direct to consumer brands. And so we really found a niche in being able to do a lot of 3D prototyping, product renderings, and creating like these very elaborate web experiences. And one thing led to another. We went from a 2-man studio to close to like 35 people in about a year and a half. And that was a crazy skyrocketed growth. The market was really healthy too. And so we had learned a lot. We had built some very iconic, cool companies. And so while Luca was doing his thing in LA, he kind of ended up moving down to Miami because I tried to like sway him in this direction. I said, hey, like the lifestyle down here is awesome, tax haven and all these other cool things. Him and he called me one day and he was like, hey, I have this awesome company that I'm thinking about coming on board called Gel Blaster. They need, I want to invest into them, wondering if you want to invest and basically go in on it and try to help out where we can. And so I was like, let's do it. And long story short, he became the CMO of the company, was the second largest investor at the time. So it was myself, him, and a few other awesome people. And so we really just took that brand from where it was, which was kind of like a Kickstarter brand. And he came in with his marketing mind. I overhauled and redid the entire brand, helped kind of drive the digital growth strategy along with some other people that we were involved as well. And so that was like our way to kind of come back full circle and like hyper focus on the CPG brand and like build that up in a very fast amount of time. That brand grew really, really fast. And so we started leveraging that success, all of our knowledge, to kind of make our way closer to where we are today, which is Pudgy Penguins.
Cool. Really impressive background, and the growth of your previous company, that was impressive, man. So congrats for that. Really.
Thank you.
And so building on that success and your design appetite and acumen, Mozaria from Twitter, under one of my tweets, he called you the Virgil of Pudgy Penguins. Do you resonate with that as a chief creative officer at Pudgy Penguins? Does that make sense to you?
I mean, I'll take it as a compliment. Virgil's rest in peace, but Virgil's he did change the landscape for a ready to wear brands. That entire camp, Virgil, Don C, Kanye, Jerry Lorenzo, like they very much changed what the luxury meets streetwear fashion industry looks like today. And so he will, he is going down as an icon at the end of the day. And I wouldn't say I'm like Virgil for Pudgy Penguins in any way. I think we're way too early to make any assessments, but I will take it as a compliment for sure, because we had some like internal chats where people would be like Virgil, but yeah, take it as a compliment for sure.
Nice. I have this belief myself that, as in the same way that street culture influenced all culture defining pillars, music, fashion, food, even. I have this deep belief that the culture that's brewing right now in Web3 and NFTs in particular is going to influence those also culture defining pillars in big ways in the future. Do you also believe that?
For sure. Yeah. I think we're looking at the landscape. We're very early. Like everything that we're doing today, we just us as a new generation, we like things fast, and we're all still young, so every move we make, we feel like it's going to be like the last move and this is it. But if you kind of zoom out, like we are so early, we're in the early fidelity stages of back in the day what internet was, right? So like at that time people thought they were already late, and there was already way too many search engines, even though the competitive landscape wasn't that much, or there were too many commerce stores, or people thought that e-commerce wasn't like going to be a thing. Um, and so that's kind of where we're at today, is where I feel like we're so early, but everything kind of sways so fast, and the landscape changes and evolves. And I think with real innovators that kind of jump into this industry and help kind of pioneer a lot of healthy habits and things that should be kind of transcending time, I think we'll very much start welcoming a lot of those people here, and we'll start seeing a lot of evolution from the Web3 space for sure. So we're super. I mean, we're not even early. We haven't even started yet. Like that's how early we are.
You guys at Pudgy's have been playing with different aspects of innovation. There was this innovation in how you leverage holder rights to license IPs, right? From the Pudgy Penguins ecosystem to people that want to use it for their own products. And then there was also this retail approach where you have the toys that linked to a digital collectible, bridging the physical world with a digital world, and then this gaming aspect. What, in your opinion, is the biggest opportunity that lies ahead of us in the NFT space?
Great question. So I think that what we're doing today is kind of helping prove our thesis, which is to democratize IP ownership. And I think that is what is allowing everybody to be a mass participant, especially of a new brand. We're looking at mass affiliation as our kind of strong bone. This is what community means, right? Mass affiliation. Everybody feels like they're a part of this bigger vision, and if people feel like they were a part of the development journey, there's that sentimental attachment that gets attached to the upbringing of that company, and that's just something that you can't go out there and you can't buy. You can't advertise that emotion. You can't sell enough of a story or a conviction to get somebody involved once a company's already been developed, so far ahead. And so it's a great way for like early adopters to get into something and reap the rewards as a company is making its way and kind of breaking out and kind of cornering a market or becoming mass. So I think that's like kind of like what we've been very much kind of striving for, is being able to allow people who are here early to participate in the development journey of Pudgy Penguins. And so that started with having the ability to license the PFPs directly from holders, create products surrounding the likeness of that IP, and then rewarding them with royalties, something that they don't have to go and sell their NFT and worry about it 2 years later that they lost their opportunity, right, to hold it. We're still able to kind of reward and incentivize them for holding their NFT. So we're looking to do that a lot more, and I think it's planted right in our core business model right now, and it's I can't complain. It's doing really well.
Looking to the future, there's in preparation for this interview, I looked at your Twitter and I highlighted a couple tweets that I want to get your perspective on and try to extract a little bit of alpha. So please don't mind me. The first one is the last few months we've been building Pudgy Penguins into being an entertainment and content powerhouse, concurring GIFs, animations, and soon other content formats. 2024, we scale. What do you mean by scaling? What's the plan there?
Yeah. So all of 2023, we were trying to figure out who we are as a business. Even till today, we're still trying to figure out what it is that we want to anchor down on the most, what resonates with people the most, and then start scaling all those things up moving into the next year. And there are a lot of things that we can scale up. We can scale retail distribution. We can scale up content, meaning where we distribute, how we distribute, and just overall everything that we've kind of seen that's worked today. That is something that we very much look like on doubling down next year. This was a great year for us to start testing messaging, testing brand positioning, testing product, right? So you saw us launch a few collectibles earlier this year. All of them sold out within seconds, which proves that we do have a higher end market. And so we are very much looking to double down on that moving into the next year. Walmart is doing extremely well. We were able to show that we can go mass distribution. The likeness of the penguin goes beyond the community in the Web3 community. I think we're starting to show a lot of dominance on those retail shelves. And so what we do there is we start scaling, and also content. We know that we can hit millions and millions of views. We can make billions of impressions. We can produce billions of impressions. And so all we need to start doing is doubling down on the content, getting, not just riffing on internet culture, but developing our own lore, right, that we can kind of distribute through all those channels. And so a lot of what we did this year, and this year hasn't ended, so we haven't launched a lot of the things that we want to launch. I think as we move closer to December, there's going to be a few things that we're going to launch that we do want to double down on next year. But the things that have worked so far, we're very much looking to scale moving into the next year.
Exciting. So it looks like there's scale and depth planned for 2024. So really looking forward to that. Next tweet that I want to highlight, you said, in the last 6 months, the team has been cooking something super epic that pushes all limitations of web experiences and will make Pudgy Penguins the poster child everyone points to for inspiration and maybe copy. Can't wait to share it with everyone very, very soon. So question is, when, how soon, and what's in that tweet?
Yeah, matter of weeks. I won't say more than that because the Dot's going to kill me and the rest of the team. But this experience that we've been building, and coming from a world of web experiences and just looking at technology, that statement holds very true. And the people that we had brought on also realized that what we had produced is going to set a very high standard for web experiences. I think moving into the next year, gaming is going to be the common theme. A lot of the companies who are kind of preaching gaming within their core business model. Obviously, you can't go and ship a game in a couple of months, right? This is like a year and a half plus of building. So a lot of the companies that were quiet over the last few months, you're going to start seeing them slowly start rolling product out next year. It's going to be a very interesting time. And so, and this is not just gaming, like, playing games. This is also gamifying experiences. So it could not be just a regular game, but it could be gamifying your participation. And then with participation comes reward, right? And that is a gaming mechanism. And so, we've very much been kind of focused on that as well. Like, how do we reward our community a little bit more? What does it look like if Pudgy Penguins was to start factoring in a lot of these like gaming experiences, whether it's a game, whether it's rewarding participation through X, Y, and Z, things done towards that participation. And so one of the things that we've built is very much going to set a really high standard that I know for a fact people will point to, because anybody who I've showed, and I've talked to really top tier industry people in the creative technologist space, let's just call that, have all said like this is pretty high standard. This is like elite stuff here. So I want to show people in a space that Pudgy Penguins can ship really awesome things and do it in a very efficient amount of time too.
All right, one last question. You mentioned it's a matter of weeks for that announcement and release. And in a couple of weeks, we'll also hit December. And you said that Miami will be the place to be in December for fellow Pengu holders. What's happening in December? Can you tell me anything about that?
Yeah. I mean, everybody knows that we throw events during our Basel, so expect that. We'll be making an announcement in the next 24 to 48 hours. But if I could tell anybody anything, I would say don't miss out on that event. I would strongly urge people to come down if they can. Yeah, December's the time.
So the FOMO's building. Guys, for you guys listening to us, I hope you caught up on that alpha. Seems like the Pengu team has been cooking, and of course, we didn't doubt that. So as we wrap up this episode, I invite you guys to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and also the notification bell so that you know what's coming next, because I have a good lineup of guests and interesting topics to cover. And the Penguin team will be very welcome for upcoming episodes if you guys have a little bit of time, because I know you have a busy pipeline. So thank you so much, Peter, for joining today.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.